Welcome back to my 8-part video series on how to organize your folders on the computer. We've almost gone through the entire process. This is the last video. I will show you how to maintain your folder structure today on Tuesday Tech Training. Hello and welcome to today's Tuesday Tech Training. My name is Jennifer Stewart. I'm the owner of Gateway Productivity and I'm a tech and productivity trainer. This is our final video in the 8-part series on organizing the folders in your computer. And I'll talk to you today about how to maintain your folder structure. I'll talk about how to keep things the way you have them or tweak them if you find things you need to change. I'll give you some ideas on things you may want to tweak along the way. And we'll even talk about what you might want to do if you're finding that it's not working for you at all. The first part of maintaining your folder structure is just paying attention to how things are going. So as you're using it day in and day out, figure out what is working, what is not working. Is there something that's still frustrating you? We'll zero in on that and figure out what it is that's truly the frustration point, what it is that is holding you back from getting what you want. And then you can make the changes. So I'll talk about with one of my folders, some of the changes I made along the way and things you might want to think about. For my example today, I'm going to use my YouTube videos folder that's in my business structure. What you see here is what has evolved over time. What I first had was loose things like what is in this folder here. So all of these loose things were in the main folder. And I started to realize that's not going to work. And so I decided to do the weekly folders. Then as I got further and further along, since I've been doing this for about 1.5 years, I realized that that was getting to be too long a line of folders. So I was like, okay, how can I shrink that and make it easier to see what's in this main folder that I'm in the most? So then I looked at, okay, well, I could do the years. So you can see in the year folder, I have different months. That even transpired after I put everything in here. I still felt like it was kind of hard to see what was going on. So I put the month folders, and in some cases I was doing a theme per month, and that's why you see this. So remember, as you're using your structure, you can change things, you can add things. I used to just have the months here, and then I added the themes once I realized that that was something that could be helpful. After that, I didn't use the themes as much, so I just stuck with the months. So you can try things, see if they help. Don't give yourself too much to do. So if I was to try and take these months and add multiple themes or all of the different videos that were in there, that would not be a good use of my time. So you want to think about what is the best bang for your buck. So in these cases, it was one theme for the month, and so it made sense to put it there. But these other ones, it started to be too many different topics, so it didn't make sense anymore. So make sure to get a good balance between how much time you're spending maintaining the folder structure and how much is actually realistic and helpful. Another piece of this was adding the zArchive folder. I talked about that early on in planning the folder structure, but at that time, maybe you didn't need it. But once you start using your folder structure for a while, you may find that this could be helpful. Remember, this is where you can keep old versions of things that you can refer back to if you need to, or if it's something where you're really not sure, you're on the fence about if you want to keep it or not, you could throw it into something like this. And again, the name can be whatever you want. I choose to use zArchive. The Z drops it to the bottom. I use the word archive because that makes sense to me, but maybe yours says old documents or replaced or something like that. As you're using your folder structure, you want to pay attention to how much is in a folder. Are you having to scroll? Are you feeling like you're still searching for things? If so, you want to think about what are some main topics of things that are in this folder that you could create a subfolder for. Maybe you started with a very simple folder structure, and there's nothing wrong with that, where it just had some primary folders and you weren't sure what subfolders to do. And then once you get everything in there, then you can start to see, okay, well, I have pages of documents. So what's a theme in some of these documents where I could create a folder, get some things out of the main folder so that it's easier to find things. So that's another piece that you can do as you're maintaining your folder structure. And this could take weeks or months. It's not going to be overnight.
Going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, Are there things that are frustrating you about maintaining your folder structure? Are you finding after a few weeks that you're not using certain things or that you're still having trouble finding things? Dig down to the root of what's going on there. So what I mean by that is it a naming convention issue? Do you need to have more detail in the naming of your documents so that you can search for them? That might be something that's going on. Or potentially, did you create too many levels of folders and you're having to drill down in to get to things, and that's frustrating for you? In that case, maybe you need to back it out, use some of your more primary folders and have more documents in there so that you're not having to look as far. And also, I'll put links at the end of the description of this video to other videos I've done on creating some shortcuts. So you can create a shortcut on your desktop to get straight to a folder, or I have a whole video about using this quick access on the left-hand side. And you do have that for a Mac as well. If someone's been following along with a Mac, you do have access for that. So I'll put those links in the description notes for this video. But that may be something that you want to do. You like your folder structure, but you feel like you're drilling down into folders too often. You may need to use this quick access and just create some shortcuts to those folders so that you can easily get to things. There's a lot of workarounds to make your folder structure work for you. So what should you do if your folder structure just isn't working for you at all? Again, drill deep into it, pay attention to what it is that is making it not useful to you. Is it the structure itself? Is it the fact that you don't want to use folders? There's lots of different reasons you might not be using that folder structure. So be honest with yourself about why that is. And then that will help you decide your next step. If it is the structure of the folders, then you can either make it simpler or you need to move things around. You should come to that conclusion when you think about why you're not using it. And sometimes that's an issue of just having the discipline to go ahead and use it and see if it works for you. If you're in that place, give yourself a little bit longer. If you know that you haven't realistically tried to use it, go ahead and give yourself a little bit longer to try it, maybe a couple more weeks, to really be intentional about trying to use your folder structure. But if you have done that and it's just not working, could be the folder structure itself. It could be, as I said earlier, that you just don't like using folders. If that's true, you might want to rethink your naming conventions and start using categories in your naming conventions for your documents. That way you can sort them by the category. You could even start the file names with the category. You could also do searches by category. So maybe you want to start doing that and build that into your file names instead of doing a folder structure. Regardless, remember, you can always tweak your folder structure. You can change things. It is yours. If you have a team that's using the folder structure, just be sure that you're in constant communication with them about what they need as well. But this is changeable. Once you've done it, it's not set in stone. Be constantly on the lookout for what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and make the changes you need. Have you had a light bulb moment from this training? If so, please let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions, you can put those in the comments as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can also choose to give the video a thumbs up, or you could share it with someone you think could benefit from the information. And be sure to subscribe by clicking the red button below. Hopefully, if you've been following along the video series, you've already done this. But you can click that red button and you'll see a bell icon that shows up. If you click on that, you'll receive notifications each time a new video is posted. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.